Well, we're going to talk a little bit about what I would call the unsung heroes in the garden, and we're talking about ornamental grasses. And Cindy Townsend is here. And Cindy, you know that you always know when a landscape looks really good, and oftentimes it's because there are ornamental grasses in the background.
They add a lightness and a softness to it, and they kind of pull it down and make it more realistic, more casual. So, and yet you can get a formal look out of them, which really brings me to the first grass, which I'm excited to talk about. This one's Carl Forster feathery grass, and as soft and natural as it looks, you really can get a more formal look out of it if you line it up and make it more linear, because it has that real upright character that we like to pull out of some of our junipers and some of our other plant material, but yet it has that softness and casualness to it too. And they even selected this as a perennial plant of the year one year.
Now, grasses need to be planted mostly in full sun, don't they?
Most of them do. I'm going to show you some that can take some part shade and even into the shade, but yeah, most of your grasses like full sun. And the other thing behind the grasses that I really want to put out or tell you is in July, you can still plant them. They're really tough and hardy, but the grasses have a nice dense root ball that is what allows them to be so compatible to the landscape, or so hardy to the landscape. So when you first plant them, you're going to really want to put your water source on top of the root ball for those, and you're going to want to aggressively spread the roots when you plant them, but you can plant them in July without a problem.
What's down here? This is nice.
This is Miscanthus gracilis, or maidenhair grass. And this is another one that you can use to help define a space. You can use it along the drive. It's a nice big grass, so it could be a specimen, or you can make a run with them. And a lot of times we use grasses for erosion control too. So if you got a hillside that you want it to be a little bit more attractive, then you could put something big and grand on it, like a Miscanthus gracilis, and soften it and help with a little bit of erosion control.
Now, how big will this one get?
This one can get, you know, the grass itself probably 6 feet, and it'll form a mound, and then its blooms can go up to about 8 feet or so.
And this is the one with the big, tall, kind of off-white blooms, right?
This is not the feather duster bloom that you're thinking about. That would be the ivory feathers pampas grass.
Yeah.
This one has, and the texture of it is a little bit different, a little bit more coarse. And I'll tell you, with this one, you can go this way with it. Do not go the other way, because it's got little spikes on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like
You'll
little
be sorry.
razors. Yeah, you'll be definitely sorry. But it gets the same size. This was ivory feather, so it's a dwarf for a pampas, but it gets the same size as our maidenhair grass. But this one has those big feather duster plumes on it. The maiden grass looks like little wispies, like little, I can't even, like the witch's broom maybe? Something like that. It's very distinctive once you learn how to recognize it. But I love this, and I went to listen to a designer talk one time named Wolfgang, and one of the things, he had worked in Chicago, and one of the things that he had talked about was using rudbeckias with your grasses. And there's, of course, all different kinds of rudbeckias that we've got. The one that's perennial is the Goldstrom. And this is the one that he advocated the most, you know, up in Chicago, is using that type of rudbeckia. But one of the ones that we love here are the Hertas, the Rudbeckia Hertas, which are biennial. And, you know, like this is Tiger Eye. Look at how beautiful that is.
It's gorgeous.
It is. And then we've got Indian Summer, which gets bigger and grander and taller, that you can intermix with your grasses pretty easily.
But he's right, because like the leaf texture is bold and the flower is bold compared with the real wispiness of the grass. It just works.
Yeah, and they go all summer long, so you really almost have a set landscape before you do much of anything without your shrubs, without your additional perennials or even annuals. It's really gorgeous, I think, and it would be great like alongside your drive, or you know, to help define your space.
And in terms of care, we're going to see some more here in a minute, but in terms of care, you would take them back probably, February, March?
Yeah.
And we had a great tip here, like just take something to grab it and bring all of this together.
Right.
And then whack it off, instead of having to do it segment by segment.
Yeah, and what I would do is use long sleeves and then use some twine and wrap it, kind of make a ponytail out of it. Then you use those long nose pruners and just whack it, and you'll get a nice flush cut. And what you want to do is look to see if there's any green of the new growth coming in yet, and you want to cut above that, because this isn't your lawn. You're not going to be cutting it all the time. You don't want those blunt ends. The grass that develops in the spring is the grass that you're going to have in the fall. So you want those nice pointy ends.
Well, let's see some other options down
here
too.
We're getting into some more, like this one. I really would like to talk about this Muhlenbergia. Feel this, Jennifer. It's got a plastic feel to it.
It does.
Isn't it kind of cool? And
Interesting.
I absolutely love this one in containers or in the landscape. It can get about 3 foot or so. And then this one sends red colored plumes in the fall that are just gorgeous and soft and airy. Really, truly one of my favorite plants. And I really like it in a pot because, again, you know, people are always asking for ferns and stuff that they can put in full sun. Well, we can't really do that here in Oklahoma, but what can we do? We can use something like a grass that would give you that ferny effect, and then those additional plumes. Wow.
And architecture interest, definitely.
Yeah, and then I chose the red pot to go with that to match the plumes. Now here we've got purple pennisetum, and I'm sorry folks, this one is not perennial for our area, but it's got so much outstanding color and adds so much to the landscape. You know, you've got your caterpillar flower heads that start earlier than a lot of your other grasses. And I chose, because it is an annual for our area, I went ahead and put it in pot, and I really like bold colors, so I thought the reds and the yellows would work really well with this situation. Or you can put it just in the landscape, and a lot of people come in and they think it's perennial because their neighbor has it in the same spot year after year, but they're actually planting it.
Their neighbor is just planting it again.
In that same spot year after year. This is northern sea oats. We were talking about grasses that can do the shade. The northern sea oats definitely does the shade.
Fantastic.
Isn't it a stunning color? It almost has a bamboo effect. And look at the oat-like things. You can use these for flower arrangements. This is the variegated one. This is the one that's just plain green. And you know, I go hiking in the Wichita Mountains in Lawton, Oklahoma, and you can see this growing down in between the trees. It looks really, really pretty. Then over here, this is actually, Jennifer, a mondo grass. Isn't that beautiful? It's Crystal Falls, and Martine was the first one to put this one in an urn like this, and we had so many comments and so many people that loved it. It is evergreen. You might give it a haircut in the spring to kind of clean things up, but this will fill out and get real billowy and looks just outstanding, and it's for shade.
And hardy.
And hardy, yeah, it's very tough. This is Elijah Blue fescue, and again, we put this one in a pot. Look at all the seed heads for this, just beautiful and airy. Again, adds a nice softness. Then we use the Japanese bloodgrass. This is as close as you're going to get to the purple pennisetum, is this Japanese bloodgrass, but it's really a totally different grass, just shares some of the colors.
And this, I love this.
This one is so stunning. This is Mexican feathergrass.
You want to braid it or something, I don't know.
Well, and I've seen some mass plantings of this. It's equally stunning. I mean, you can use it just however you want, as a specimen, in a pot, in your landscape. The only thing that you really need to be careful about with your Mexican feathergrass is if it gets too much water, it will lay over and try to rot out on you. So it's really a deserty, dry type of grass.
And it says Mexican feathergrass. It's raised in Mexico, so there's a reason for it.
It's tough. It's a tough grass, and it reseeds a little bit, but I never mind. I love it.
Great, Cindy. Thank you for giving us a lot of great options. Ornamental grasses, just love them.
Thank you, Jennifer.